Grammar is not just for textbooks. Most Spanish learners use their textbooks or maybe a quizzing app to do some grammar exercises, and then they meet up with Spanish speakers just for conversation. But you can use your FaceTime with a Spanish speaker to drill grammar. And this is actually one of the most effective ways to accelerate your fluency. Let me show you why. Let's start with the most obvious reason why working with a coach will accelerate your fluency. And that is that they can catch all the little things, the tiny little mistakes that you don't even realize are confusing people in real conversations. Let's use an example that confuses almost every Spanish learner. Ser and estar are the two verbs for to be. And there are lots of moments when picking the wrong one can completely change the meaning of what you're saying. As a simple example, está claro means it makes sense or I get it. But es claro means it's light-colored. Obviously, you want to get into the habit of saying that something makes sense by saying está claro rather than es claro. And if you say it wrong, a coach will patiently help catch your mistake so that you don't make the same mistake in real life. And that's important because there are times when making grammar mistakes with things like ser versus estar doesn't just cause confusion, it can make you say something totally different from what you want to say. Here's how this can lead to some awkward situations. Let's say you're chatting with your in-laws and you're talking about where you went to college. You're trying to tell a story about one particular classmate who was super wealthy and he threw a lot of parties. What you want to say is, he's really rich. But what you end up saying is, está muy rico. Best case scenario, your in-laws burst out laughing, and that's because es muy rico means he's really rich, but está muy rico means he's really tasty. And that's probably not what you meant to tell your in-laws about this random person. A language coach will help you avoid making the specific kinds of grammatical mistakes that can lead to awkward situations or miscommunications in real life. The second reason is that face-to-face grammar drills are a perfect stepping stone between grammar theory and actually speaking spontaneously in real conversations. So if you've ever studied grammar but still freeze up when it's time to speak, this might be the missing link. It's one thing to work on Spanish grammar on your own. It's another thing to do it face to face. Grammar drills with a Spanish coach are like training wheels for real conversation. Grammar is no longer abstract and isolated from real life. It's real face-to-face practice. Let's say you're struggling with subjunctives. When you meet up with your coach, they're going to guide you to say sentences that use subjunctives right in front of them out loud. So they might put you on the spot and ask you, how would you say, I want her to do this? So then you take a second and you think, and you respond, quiero que ella haga esto. See how this is totally different from answering a question on a piece of paper. You had to stop, think about it, and then say it out loud, face to face, with a Spanish speaker. This will help prepare you for when you have to say things like this in real life, which is going to happen all the time. So it's a huge step toward face-to-face confidence in Spanish conversations. It's basically halfway in between. It's still grammar drilling, but with a little bit of face-to-face pressure. The third reason to drill grammar face-to-face with a coach is what's known as the Goldilocks problem. When you study Spanish on your own, you typically end up gravitating towards something that's way too easy or something that's way too hard. So either you gravitate towards stuff you've already learned because it feels good to know that you're right, or you step out and try something new and challenging, and you end up drowning in frustration and hitting a wall. Neither of these is effective. But a good coach knows exactly how to find your sweet spot in between. They'll spot the exact grammar point that you're almost getting right, and they'll drill it with you until it clicks. It's like working with a personal trainer. A good coach won't overload you, but they also won't baby you. They'll keep you right at that edge where growth happens. That's the fastest way to make real progress, staying right at the edge of your comfort zone. And only an experienced Spanish coach will know how to keep you right in that Goldilocks zone. The fourth reason is one that can make all the difference for your motivation. Drilling grammar with a coach is just plain encouraging. When you drill on your own and you get something right, there's no positive human feedback. Let's say you're studying a particular use of indirect objects, and you finally start getting it right on the test. Yay, that's nice, but nobody's giving you a high five or telling you that you're doing a good job. But when you do it face to face with a native speaking coach and you start getting it right, they smile, they nod, and they say, "Sí, muy bien." This coach is with you to celebrate those little wins in real time. Those little moments of connection with positive reinforcement wire your brain to keep going. This boosts your motivation because we naturally gravitate toward things that feel good. And boy, does it feel good to have a native Spanish speaker telling you that you're learning and doing a great job. The beautiful thing is that your coach truly wants you to get better. They're coming alongside you, they're working with you on all of your progress, and their excitement helps become your motivation as well. All right, the final reason to train with a coach face to face is that they will help turn all of this abstract grammar into real conversation. Have you ever gone and studied a bunch of grammar, gotten your tests right, and then gone into a conversation and realized that it's all gone? Well, here's the solution. A good coach won't just drill you in the abstract. They're going to connect the grammar that you're learning to real life. So let's go back to that example where you were struggling with subjunctives and practicing that with a coach. At first, your coach drilled you by asking things like, how would you say, "I want her to do this"? Well, later in the session, the coach will switch from grammar drilling to conversation practice. And then during that conversation, she might bring up something like, "Hey, so what's something you want your parents to do?" Then you have to respond, "Quiero que mis padres hagan esto." So now you're using subjunctives again, but this time in a conversation context. Little moments like this can really help your Spanish grammar click. You didn't just drill a piece of grammar in an abstract context, it became a mental model that you can actually use to express things in real life. So thanks to your coach, you're not just memorizing stuff, you're building up your Spanish grammar in a specific way to become like a set of tools that you can rely on when the conversation goes in any direction. And that's the whole goal of learning Spanish grammar, to use it in real-life conversations face to face. A Spanish coach will help you repurpose grammar from a set of rules into a living, breathing language that you can speak and understand deeply. So to recap, if you want to make real progress on your Spanish, you can't just memorize grammar rules in a vacuum. And you can't just have casual conversations and hope to get fluent. The fastest path to fluency involves drilling those skills out loud, face to face, with someone who can correct you and guide you in real time, and then make sure it all transfers to real conversations. That's what the LearnCraft Spanish coaches do every day. They'll pinpoint your biggest weak points in Spanish, they'll help you fix them, and they'll give you the confidence to use them in real Spanish conversations. So if you're tired of studying Spanish grammar on your own with no real feedback, or if you're frustrated that what you're learning never seems to transfer to real Spanish conversations, then it's time to upgrade your approach. Click the link in the description to get started with an expert coach. They'll not only give you real-time feedback, they'll also equip you with the tools and evidence-based study techniques that'll finally make everything stick and transfer to real-life fluency. Meanwhile, subscribe to this channel for more hands-on tactics that'll help you master real-life Spanish for deep, expressive fluency.